Hi, guys. Yale contingent is here for those of you behind the curtain. And we have the microphones, which we will use. And, one thing I want to mention, if you have a wireless device and have not registered the RF frequency, that's a big problem, and that's with some of the interference we've had here. So obviously you're not going to rush off and do it now, but make sure we get it done if you haven't done that. Appreciate it. Let's start with your questions for the players.
For any of you guys, Sam Warner, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. It looked like last night, the game was sort of a little cagey opening, and then when Mitch scored, it sort of loosened things up a little bit. Did you guys feel that way? I mean, how do you think the game shifted after that first goal?
Carson.
Well, I believe the first goal in every game is pretty huge, to go either way. But after Mitch scored, I think both teams kind of loosened up in one way or another. We got it out of the way, and we just had to play the game after that.
Jeff, I'm sure you like it when your team scores first.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to get that lead.
A little more than that, Jeff. They need a couple more things than that, probably.
I mean, it doesn't change the way we play. No matter what the score is, we're always going to have the same mentality. So,
Antoine?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar to that. I mean, I guess it takes off pressure, but can't look at a lead, and become complacent. I don't think we did that. Even when they came back, I don't think we were complacent. I think, it's just the way the game goes, and we stuck to our game plan the whole time, and it paid off.
Coach, you like it when your team scores first, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think the way that Lowell plays, it was beneficial to be playing from the front rather than from behind.
Further questions for the players? Okay, Nance?
Nancy Marapes, Boston Globe. Jeff, what is it like for you to go such long stretches of time with no activity in your own zone? I mean, how do you stay mentally prepared?
I think it's kind of cliche to say that you're just not into the game when you're not getting the shots. So obviously the mentality for myself doesn't change. I have to focus on the next shot, the next play, and last night I thought I was handling the puck, so that kept me in the game.
The back here?
Brian Lipner, Quinnipiac Chronicle. For any of the players, obviously it is a national championship, but when looking at the rivalry between you guys and Quinnipiac, is the approach really just like any other game?
Antoine?
Yeah, the short answer to that is absolutely. We have a game plan set up for tomorrow. We're ready to work hard, and nothing changes, tonight or tomorrow.
Carson?
Yeah, just like Antoine said there, we're just going to stick to what we do. We're going to we're going to play Yale hockey. It's gotten us here. We're going to keep doing that.
Jeff, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think we've established a routine from day one, so we're just going to stick to our routine and go from there.
Okay.
Shelley Anderson, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Just wondering what you guys, what your impressions at this point have been of Pittsburgh, the host city, what you've been to see. Have you done anything fun, done anything not fun?
Jeff, let's start with you.
I mean, it's a beautiful city. Everything Jesse told us about it, it's gorgeous, very picturesque. Coming out of that tunnel was pretty nice.
Antoine?
Yeah, I agree. It's a beautiful city, and I think we also appreciate the way, everyone here has treated us. Here at the Consol Energy Center, at the hotel, and the fans are great as well. So it's nice.
Carson?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go along with those guys too. It's a very beautiful city. Like Malk said, coming through that tunnel, I was actually very surprised to see just the picturesque view there. But just the amazing treatment from everybody around at the console, at the hotel. It's just the first class treatment. It's unbelievable.
Coach, what have you done that's been fun?
We played a hockey game last night, Fish.
That's the same answer as Rand. Yeah. You've been here before, Keith?
Yeah, when I was with Wash, we had a couple of playoff series here, so I've been here this time of year as well.
All right, in the back there.
Rich Capola, Fox, Connecticut. For any of the guys, including Keith, would you agree that in the last few weeks you guys have done a lot of the little things better? and maybe even your compete level, for whatever reason, has gotten to where you guys expect it to be?
Carson.
That's a tough one there, but yeah, definitely the little things. We kind of bore down. We've really been working on things in practice. Looking after just little parts of the game that sometimes you might overlook, and obviously it's been proving with seeing it in our success lately.
Antoine.
Yeah, I'd agree the little things, but it kind of comes down to just focus in on game day and during the game, and I think I guess during playoffs or during the national championship we've definitely come together and done that every day.
Coach, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I mean, as a program, one of the things that we want to be is about growth, and we want our players to get better as individuals each and every day, and we want our team to get better as a team each and every day. So, early in the year, I thought we were pretty good, and I told everyone that we'd be better in January than we were in December, and that we'd be better in March than we were in January. And because of the time and the focus and the energy that these guys put into it, that's turned out to be true.
Nancy.
Nancy Marapiece, Boston Globe. Could all of you speak to the Ivy League, the scholarship situation, the high academic standards? What do you think it says for the Ivies that you guys are in this position this year?
Antoine.
Yeah, I'd agree. The academic standards are very high, and and I'm sure in all the Ivy League schools, it's tough to balance the hockey life and education, but so I mean I don't know what other schools are like. I just know that it's pretty hard for us, and we've proven that we can do both, and excel both education wise and athletics wise.
Jeff.
Yeah, I think off the ice it's kind of tough to balance both, but we've done a good job to this point. Mentally, it can be a wear throughout the season, but it's got us to this point. So,
Carson.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me as a freshman, having older guys like Antoine and Jeff, they just kind of show me the ropes, show me how to balance schoolwork with hockey, and that was especially important for me coming in. And I think I've been able this second semester really found kind of a groove, and it's really helped me in my personal game.
Coach, what about those challenges?
Well, I mean, I've always believed that you could combine excellence in athletics with excellence in academics. And when I came back to Yale, one of the things that I wanted to try to prove was that you could go to the best university in the world and compete in college hockey at the very highest level.
Jim.
Jim Conley, U.S. College Hockey Online. For Antoine and Coach, if you could address this, 3 losses to Quinnipiac this year. Maybe it's a different time in the year, but there's got to be some things that have to be different in tomorrow night's game. What do you think those things are?
Antoine.
Yeah, I think during an NCAA tournament game, first of all, what happened in the regular season and playoffs doesn't really matter at this point. So it's a whole new, it's a one and done. It's a whole new time. And I also believe that if we can do the little things like we talked about earlier, and stay focused on our tasks and our game plan, and get a lot of pucks low and get to rebounds and get some traffic in front of the goalie, we'll be successful.
Coach.
I mean, obviously they have an excellent hockey team. I mean, there's a reason they've been the top-ranked team in the country for most of the year, certainly the whole second half of the year. But has been alluded to earlier, I think the details in our game and our individuals are better now than we were last time we faced them, and so I think we're up to the task.
Further questions? Okay, right here.
Alex Goldberger, Yale Alumni Magazine. Can you speak to some of the similarities of the team? Quinnipiac, just like Yale, can really skate very well, has a lot of fast, smaller forwards.
Who's that for, Alex?
Alumni Magazine, Yale.
No, which person up here?
For anyone.
Anyone. All right. Well, Carson, what are you thinking?
Yeah, they're a great team. We got a great goaltender. They got a great goaltender. Their decors really, they're hard to play against, definitely. And their forwards, we got a great top line. They got a great top line, and right through 2, 3, and 4, we each have great lines. We play pretty similar, I believe, and using our speed and our transition.
Keith?
Yeah, I mean, our goaltending is good. Their goaltending is good. I think that both teams try to play an up-tempo game. They'll get after it on the forecheck. So there are some similarities between the two for sure.
Okay, anything further? See, you can do who you want, Jim. You want to keep going? Okay. If we're done with the players, though, we can let them go and just finish with Coach here. I mean, you guys, we don't want to kick you out, but I know you're enamored sitting here. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Jim Conley again from U.S. College Hockey Online. Keith, how similar is the game plan going to be from the Lowell game, just in terms of shutting down team speed, stopping that transition game in the neutral zone?
Well, we're still formulating our game plan, but I do think there are some similarities between Lowell and QPAC, particularly with the way that they defend. It's a work in process right now.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Hey, Coach, Conrad from WYBC. I wanted to ask you about Ryan Obukowski's performance yesterday against Mass Lowell. What did you make of it? He seemed to make a number of great defensive plays.
I thought Ryan had an outstanding game. I think it was sharp of you to notice that, but he had a great stick defensively in front of our net, really competed hard for some pucks in our zone. And then also, for a freshman guy, as the game went on, he grew with the game. And he had some golden opportunities there in the third period to get the game-winning goal. And he's been like that for us all year long.
Stay over here, and then we'll come back over to this side.
Sam Werner, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Coach, you mentioned you're still formulating the game plan for tomorrow. How different is that process, going into a game where you face the team 3 times in the regular season as opposed to, a team you haven't played before?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit different because you've got some knowledge on them, but we had 10 days to get ready for Lowell, and we've got a day and a half to get ready for our opponent on Saturday night. So the process is the same, really. We watch tape. We make assessments, and we try to come up with a way to counteract their strengths and attack their weaknesses.
Okay, over here on the right.
Warren Kozarowski, New York State Hockey Report. The second line, Stu Wilson's line, can you talk about the line in general? You had him out in the final minute last night in a 2-2 game of regulation.
Yeah, well, I've got a tremendous amount of confidence in that group defensively as well as offensively, and that's one of the reasons why they were out there. But, Stu and Josh are our 2 primary penalty killers. They're the first guy off the bench. So, obviously, if I trust them 4 against 5, I feel pretty good when they're out there 5-on-5. But they've got speed. They've got tenacity. They got a very high hockey IQ as a line, and they've really meshed well for us here down the stretch run.
Bob?
Yeah, Keith, Bob Snow, NHL.com. Maybe kind of a little different slant on the same question that has come to you often in the last few minutes, seemingly. Lowell mentioned that they thought they came out flat-footed, and Motzko mentioned last night that he just wished if he had one wish, he'd have the first 11 minutes back. But is there anything you guys do to create a different tempo or a different start to make sure that you don't get caught, quote, flat-footed or caught in that level of energy that comes in the first period?
I mean, we do what we've done all year long. I mean, nothing's going to change. I mean, we have our game day routine, the way we warm up in the morning, the way we warm up when we get to the rink. We encourage that our guys have a good pregame skate on the ice here prior to the game. But we pride ourselves on being ready, and we pride ourselves on playing fast and pushing the tempo. So that's what we'll try to do tomorrow night.
Coach Shelley Anderson from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette again. Something you alluded to earlier, asked you about Pittsburgh, and you mentioned when you were an assistant in the 90s with Washington. Those series were not walks in the park. They weren't flowery for either team. There were some legendary things, there still are, with those 2 teams. I would think someone would be a part of that, might not have the greatest impression of Pittsburgh with the old barn, both of them were old barns in both cities. Can you talk about your impressions of Pittsburgh then and maybe what you see now with this building?
No, I loved it, actually, then. One of the series we won, I think we upset the Penguins, and the other one that they won, we had that 4 overtime game back in Washington that Peter Nedved threw it over Ole Kolzig's shoulder. So I haven't forgotten too much about that. But I think, Pittsburgh is hilly. It's got rivers. It's got some real character to its makeup. It seems to be more of a booming city now than it was then. You know, it just seems a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more colorful to me now than it was back in the 90s. And this building wasn't here. No, I like the Igloo, though.
Which one are you picking?
We'll see how it goes tomorrow night.
All right, in the back.
Brian Lipner, Quinnipiac Chronicle. Coach, obviously it is the national championship, but when looking at the rivalry between you guys and Quinnipiac, is the approach just like any other game?
Yes. I mean, you said obviously. I mean, yes, it's obvious to me too.
All right, Nancy right here.
Nancy Marepeace, Boston Globe. I was talking to a commissioner earlier, and we were talking about sort of the irony of the foreshadowing of the championship game being the consolation game in Atlantic City. I was just wondering if you could speak to, you know, thinking back what it was like then versus where you guys sit today.
You know, I think emotionally our team is in a different place now. You know, that consolation game, no one likes to play a consolation game, first of all, and we probably played our worst game of the season that Friday night against Union. I know they're a great team, and maybe they played their best game, but it was an awful night for us. So the Saturday afternoon game, I don't think there was much life on either team.
Anything further for Coach Elaine? Okay, Keith, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.